My name's Ali Jawad. I've been to 4 Paralympic Games. I was lucky enough to win silver in Rio. I'm also a PhD student, but something you probably didn't know is that last year I launched a fitness app for disabled people, so I'm also an entrepreneur. So I was born as a double-leg amputee. When I was growing up, there was no Paralympic sport on TV, so I had to rely on myself to motivate myself, and I had no real role models. I guess when I was watching the '96 Olympics and I watched Michael Johnson win his historic 2 gold medals, and when he was on top of the podium, I wanted to feel what he was feeling. And since I was 6, I thought I have to find a sport that I'm good at to feel what he's feeling. And luckily I managed to find a sport. So clean sport for me is a term that is quite complex because there's actually no real definition. So athletes have different opinions on what it means to them. To me, I always think about, as a human being, I can look at myself in the mirror and go that I've given absolutely everything of my life and my values and my morals to be the best human that I can be, but also the best athlete I can be within the rules. So my understanding of doping when I was 15 was nothing. I asked the coach that, how can you cheat when there's you against the bar and weights? Because it's not me against somebody else. I'm not fighting anybody like judo. And when he said about drugs, it completely blew my mind because I thought, that's insane. Like, why are they not getting caught? Why are they taking drugs? I had all these questions. And I actually had to leave the room and get some fresh air to actually understand if I really wanted to commit to that sport. Because I thought, well, if he's saying that it's virtually impossible to medal at that level, why would I not put in 7-10 years of hard work just to come 4th, come 5th? But the one thing that kept me going was actually, imagine using science to try and outsmart the dopers. That's a huge motivation, but also at the same time, trying to find the gaps in the system to try change it or try fight for change as we go along. And even though it's been 17 years, we've still got a long way to go, it has improved since when I started. Me being outspoken about intentional misrepresentation was actually just a very recent thing, maybe about 5-6 years ago. What system is in place to regulate it? The system wasn't as robust as the anti-doping system, and that made me even more frustrated. So I started doing a lot of research about the history of the Paralympic Games, the history of classification, realising that parasport has grown so much that research just hasn't caught up. And because of that, they haven't found a system that is truly scientific based that actually tests these athletes to actually implement the regulation. So with my PhD, I've tried to maybe, look into the prevalence of IM in parasport to actually assess the magnitude of it, because it's never been done. But also, hopefully trying to find some sort of recommendations or frameworks we could use to be implemented in the future with hopefully more research driven into that area. So what I'd say to my kind of younger self starting in parasport is patience, only because I found that growing up I was very angry at the sport for not protecting me. The fact that I was competing in a doping sport and I had to work extra hard to try and beat the dopers. But I felt that being angry is actually not a great vehicle for success because you make irrational decisions. What I did was I stopped being angry. I started doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of athletes, making sure that I educated myself, but also focused on the process in front of me of becoming a great athlete. And I thought, I'll get my time eventually, I just have to be very, very patient. And luckily in Rio, I got my time and actually won the medal. But it took me, 15 years to do it. From an angry young para-athlete to someone that was calm, collected, rational, and someone that made decisions based on science and data rather than my emotions. And yeah, that was a great moment for me.